at this point now, I've completed an outline of all of my world. I know where all of my biomes are, except for possibly what's on the, if there is anything on the other side of this swamp here, which I didn't go into earlier on. But it looks like it's fairly standard map, where you have the center of the map and all of the biomes come off of the center, rather than a sort of a circular map where all of the biomes are in a line that go in a circle and aren't necessarily joined by any one central point. So this is the kind of map where I try to locate my base in as close to the middle of the map as possible. And the other thing that's facilitating putting my initial starter base in the middle is the fact that I have 3 wormholes close together right here, which helps getting you to different areas of the map very easily. The other considerations that I take into account when making my base is proximity to plugged sinkholes for getting to the caves, and the Pig King. And where the Pig King is generally where Glommer is, and we didn't find him just yet, but I assume if he's not in this black area that's to the right of the Pig King there, then he's in this somewhere along this little trail of black that I didn't uncover yet. Generally probably closer to this plugged sinkhole that's there in the middle too, so come day 9 we'll be going back there to pick up Glommer anyways. And well, actually there's 4 wormholes which are within proximity of the area that I'm in here now. Another nice thing is to have these ponds, but I don't generally use ponds as a food source in the early game. Just fishing is iffy at best because you have to change your spots often enough, and you can only go there in the evening when the frogs aren't around. And frogs you generally have to use traps on so that you don't get mangled by them too very often. Because if you attack one frog, of course all of the frogs come to attack you, and using a trap you can avoid that, but it's tricky to use the traps on the frogs anyways. So the other thing that I generally take into consideration is having some spiders. I like having some spiders and or like close to the road. So a place where the spiders and the road are generally close is probably over here more. It takes us away from the wormholes a little bit, but that's not such a big deal. But actually there should be spiders in this swamp as well. And getting the spiders from the swamp is a much better idea because it's essentially you don't have to fight the spiders to get their materials. The silk and the no monster meat generally is more important in the earlier game. And also you can use the tentacles to your advantage because the tentacles will aggro all of the spiders out of the spider den, and then you can knock it down. So from where I am here, if I go to the left to build my base, it puts me more closer to a couple of the quote-unquote useless biomes. So this rock biome, we don't need to be there a lot. We'll go there once or twice to mine out all of the rocks, but that's about it. And the savanna biome, which I generally don't use very often for the beefaloes, because we can easily kite the first couple of waves of hounds as well, and then we'll get some tooth traps set up eventually. Setting up where I am puts me closer to the desert, which is a place where we can go to grab tumbleweeds. I'm sorry you're having troubles with the stream there, Divine. Sometimes Twitch does that. But you can always check out the highlights that I make. It'll have should have everything in a more concise manner for you there. But yeah, being close to spiders and a roadway for making your first base, as well as access to the grassland biomes, which will dig up all of our grass tufts and saplings to move them closer to base. The other thing I was thinking was, where did I find, oh yes, the free gears, where the spiders had killed the clockworks was right here. So we'll have to make sure we get back there relatively early. Well, actually, when we need to kill some beefaloes, we'll pick up those gears at that time. So I think for now, I'm going to be setting up my initial base right here, right in the center. It's close to everything. I've got the cobblestone road right here. It leads to the swamp biome, which has relative importance, the desert, which has relative importance, and the Pig King and Glommer with relative importance as well. And the 3 wormholes, which make getting around the map much easier as well. So generally I like to be a little bit further away from water, because in the wintertime the water is where the pangolins spring from. So I might actually be looking at straight over here for a base camp area. Right at these crossroads looks perfect to me. I have a big long road leading back to the mosaic biome, which is where we'll go and dig up a whole bunch of trinkets from the graveyard, as well as if we need some rocks near the middle or end of the game, there's a good source of rock down that way as well. And so we have the major things, the major points for making our base right here. Crossroads, proximity to these wormholes, and center of the map, just for easy access to whichever biomes we need to go to. I may eventually, this will be where I make this my starter / summer base, and then as we get on towards the other parts of the game, we can find a place to make a more permanent big base, quote unquote, and yeah, that's where we'll have our main source of everything. So first things first, we're going to put down a fire pit, and we're close enough to the night there that it should be okay.